how's it going? I'm in Tennessee. It is freezing here. I got a quick little break, so I wanted to come in here like I promised and talk about some stuff related to fat loss and calories and how to know how many calories you need and all that good stuff. So I'm just getting a quick little walk, so hopefully you can hear me okay. All right, so some of you had asked, let's go ahead and start. What's up, Natalie? So some of you have asked, okay, well, how can we still drop fat and not have to worry about counting all these calories? So such a great question. So I wanted to start off first with a couple different things. Number one is I'm not someone who really counts calories. I find it to be a bit too obsessive, and coming from a background of just obsessing about numbers and food, I really think it's important to be really in tune with your own body and what feels best for you. We're all different, and I get it that we all have different phases. Some of us can handle, being a little bit more flexible with our diet. Some of us can have a bit more intuition around our food. But personally, I really believe a lot of my mission is not around, okay, how many macronutrients do I need or how many calories do I need? I think it's more of what does my body need to feel healthy and vibrant and alive? Not so much how can I eat to make sure I'm as lean as possible. And I totally get it. I think there's such a big gap in the industry and just I think in health and wellness in general, where women think they either have to be 100% fat loss and restrictive and, really watching their calories and really trying to be super diligent about being ridiculously lean, and others are like, no, you have to be super body positive, you have to love your body all the time, you can eat donuts, you can do whatever, you don't have to worry about it. And I don't think either are right. I think there's a middle ground to all of this, right? I don't feel like that body positivity really is about eating a ton of donuts and feeling amazing about yourself, nor do I feel like getting super lean and obsessing about food and calories and macros doesn't make you like any leaner or give you an advantage over anyone, if you will. So the main question is, how can you drop fat and be in a fat loss state without counting calories and without obsessing? So I know some of you asked me about macros. Hey, how can you help me out with macro counting? How can you help me out with calorie counting? And to be honest, I don't do that. I feel like it's kind of lazy in a sense, because I'm not here to tell you exactly what to do. I'm here to help coach you and guide you to be a better version of yourself and learn to tap into your own intuition. Because if I'm to sit here and say, okay, Renee, okay, Julie, okay, Sarah, okay, Melanie, okay, Natalie, I want you guys to focus on 1,400 calories. I want you to get 120 grams of protein, 50 carbs, 50 grams of fat, whatever. That would drive you crazy. At least for me it would. And guess what? That's not allowing you to take responsibility for your health. And that's not allowing you to be independent and feel a sense of freedom about your own choices. So ultimately the goal is to gain your own sense of self-trust, and self-confidence. So how can you begin to do that? All right, let's start with the myth of people think the whole macro counting, well, if it just fits in your macros, then you can eat it. So then you see like maybe fitness professionals having these chiseled abs and they're eating this huge donut and they're like, raw, see what I can do? I can eat this stuff and still be super lean. And it's bullshit. Like, here's the deal. You have no idea what's going on the other side of that, how much effort and time they're putting into their training and their diet, and that they're probably eating steamed broccoli and chicken all the time. I've been in the industry long enough to know that's what happens. And they only show the glamorous sides of eating and how, oh, she's so lucky. She's so, she's so fit and she gets to eat a donut. So here's the deal. If it fits in your macros, I'm not a fan, and here's why. Our bodies are all biologically different. Our cells and how our body responds to food is constantly communicating with us. So if you think, wow, guess what? I didn't meet my carbohydrate needs for today, so that means I can have a big donut. All right, well, that's fine. I'm not saying donuts are bad, but if that's your sole focus, then I challenge you to kind of think outside the box, because a donut is going to have a totally different impact on your blood sugar and your insulin in your body than a sweet potato would. So let's say that you have, I'm just throwing it out there, I don't know, let's say if you did the macro counting and you have 50 grams of carbs left or something, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna eat that donut. So all calories are equal, it's just a calorie. So as long as I'm under my calorie needs, then I can eat whatever I want. Yes and no, because again, our body is totally going to respond differently to a donut versus a sweet potato, right? A donut, our blood sugar is going to spike. It's going to make us more hungry. It's going to manifest into more cravings. It's going to make us have this cascade of events of wanting to eat more food. Again, it's going to spike our blood sugar. We're going to be hungry an hour later. Versus a sweet potato, okay, yes, it has more natural sugar in it. Yes, it's a carbohydrate, but it's a rooted vegetable. You're getting a ton of nutrients in the sweet potato. You're getting a ton of fiber, a ton of vitamin A, and it's gonna release slower in your blood sugar. So, as you can see, that's why I feel like macros are not super important. I feel like so much of it is how you eat, what you put in your system, right? Your body, again, is gonna respond completely differently to a sweet potato, a whole food rather than a donut. All right, so again, with the macros, I don't do that. I honestly really don't know how to do that. So I can't help you in that department, but I can help you with more intuitive eating, with eating more whole foods, more rich, nutrient-rich foods, nutrient-dense foods that are gonna give you sustainable energy and create more vibrancy in your life, because that's ultimately what you want, right? You don't want to have to rely on some calculation. You don't want to have to rely on someone else to tell you how to eat. You're a grown woman that is super empowered, that already knows what to do. It's just a matter of trusting yourself. So by me saying this is exactly what you have to do, that's just being lazy, right? That's me saying, well, here you go. And that's not me being a good coach, because I want you to be able to learn this on your own. And learning and getting uncomfortable is all part of it. It's the only way you're going to grow. So again, number one is the myth behind macros and why I believe that, again, calories in, calories out. Yes, it's important to a certain extent, but so much of it is what you eat. And that a donut and a sweet potato, they are two completely different foods, and they digest in your system and they get into your cells much different. So if you didn't listen to that, make sure to listen to that. Then next up, let's talk about eating real food, okay? So eating real food, that is so much more important than eating a bunch of processed stuff, right? Keep it simple, ladies. Keep it super, super simple. PFF, protein, fat, fiber. Protein, fat, fiber. Again, one more time. Protein, fat, fiber. Look at your meals. Are there leafy greens, dark leafy greens? Are you getting a ton of vegetables? Are you getting some fruits? Fruits like berries and apples and peaches and pears. Are you getting, cherries? Those type of fruits are great. Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting adequate protein? I can promise you, the ladies who do not get enough protein tend to have higher sugar cravings. So please make sure you're getting adequate protein, especially when you're strength training right now. Your body's craving it. And you also need it for brain function, not only for muscle development, but the protein's going to help with your neurotransmitters, helps you with amino acids. Again, great for muscle rebuilding as well as brain function. So the protein is essential. And then also having a healthy fat. So avocado, some flaxseed oil, some seeds, all of those good things. Such great nutrients for you, and it's going to keep you sustainable. And it's going to keep you satisfied. Now, if you feel like you're still hungry and you need a bit more calories, all right, go ahead and add some carbohydrates to that. Maybe you have, some quinoa. Maybe you have some brown rice. Maybe you have some sweet potato. So I try to keep it pretty simple. The days that I don't exercise much and I'm sitting a lot, I don't really crave a lot of carbohydrates because I'm just not really moving, right? So I typically eat like a lot of protein and fat and fiber and water. And then I'll have, maybe some crackers or something, or a little oatmeal or something. But the days that I'm training, my body craves the carbs because I'm trying to replenish my glycogen stores, meaning I'm trying to rebuild my muscle again. So, Renee, one thing to focus on with the protein, I would just aim for probably 25 to 30 grams each meal. That would be a great way to start. Or you can think of your body weight. And so let's say you weigh, I don't know, I'm just going to throw it out there. Let's say you weigh 115 pounds. All right, so if you're 115 pounds, then you would need around 100 grams of protein. So I would say 0.07 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight would be ideal. I like for you to start on a little bit lower side. That way you're not going to get super constipated, and getting adequate protein, making sure you get enough, it takes a minute. So just slowly building up to that. Vegetarian protein suggestions. So Sarah, hi. As far as vegetarian, I'm not quite sure if you eat eggs or any sort of fish or anything, but there's tofu. You can have beans and quinoa. I don't know if you eat cheese. You know, the beans, it's a higher carbohydrate source. But you can also get great plant-based proteins. So Sun Warrior is one of my favorites. There's also Vega protein, that's great. Also bone broth is a great source of protein. Tofu, legumes, those sort of things. I would say, yeah, I would probably say some of those would be your best bet. But for my clients who are vegetarian, I really recommend them getting at least one serving of dense plant-based protein in their diet every day, just to get adequate protein. So, yeah, so again, the days that you're not really training, your body's not going to crave a ton of carbohydrates. But the days you are training, you probably want a bit more carbs, right? Just to replenish because you're hungry, you burned a lot. So again, protein, fat, fiber at every meal. And then if you still feel like you're hungry, add some more carbohydrate, or maybe add a little bit more protein. You know, again, those are all big movers, and it's really simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. And just look at your plate. Like, okay, is my plate colorful? Is it vibrant, or is it dead? Do I just have a slab of meat on it and a white potato, right? Look at it. Okay, is this plate nutrient dense, right? All big things to consider there. So guys, again, keep it super, super simple. This does not have to be complicated. I want you to focus more on putting healthy, quality foods into your body and not worrying so much about how many calories it has or what it's gonna do. Really focus on the high quality foods, okay? Protein, fat, and fiber at every meal. And then also listen to your body. Pay attention, be mindful. If you're wolfing down food over the sink, you're not going to know if you're full, right? Or if you wait 8 hours to eat, you're going to be so hungry, you're not going to know, like, oh my gosh, you're going to feel full so much later because you were so dang hungry, right? And you waited so long to eat. So making sure you try and eat. It's not like you have to eat every 2 or 3 hours. That myth is so busted, you guys. You do not feel like you have to stuff yourself every couple hours and eat. That's completely optional, but you really only need to eat when you're hungry. And if you don't know when you're hungry, allow yourself to be a little hungry. Wait 3 or 4 hours between each meal if you feel comfortable doing so. And I always suggest too, the fullness factor. There's a fullness factor scale. I'll post it in here. But that's essentially stopping at an 8, 7 or an 8. So 10 is where you are so full you can't breathe. It's like Thanksgiving. And 1 is you're starving, you want to gnaw your arm off. So you typically want to finish around a 7 or 8 on the fullness factor scale. And that essentially means you're looking at your food and you're like, yeah, I'm satisfied. I could probably eat a couple more bites, but it's not going to make or break me. And you can walk away from the food feeling completely satisfied. That's something to think about too. So those are just some starters, you guys. So the few things: protein, fat, and fiber at every meal, adding carbohydrates on the days you exercise and you're hungry, and adding a bit more fat when you need if you're still hungry. Secondly is being more mindful and not waiting till you're absolutely ravenous, making sure that you're getting really quality foods in your diet. So you're eating whole, healthy foods, not worrying so much about the calories and the macro content And then also finishing on the fullness factor around a 7 or 8, as far as the fullness factor scale goes, right? Or fullness scale goes, around a 7 or 8, where you could probably have another bite, but you're fine. You're satisfied, and you could go another couple hours without eating. So hopefully this was good. I'll come in here and post some more content. I have to get back into the seminar, but big hugs. Hopefully you ladies are having a great week. It seems like all of you are really, really crushing the workouts, and hopefully you're enjoying them. And any questions, feel free to post. Bye.